This is the one that Tech Life Steph sent to us. She said that even though I'm not going to be on the show this week, y'all need to holler at our people about this one. So if you remember, back in November, a company called Triller that it's kind of like a TikTok esque style company. They actually said that they were going to find 300 black creators, and they were going to ultimately sign them up to contracts for content creation, and they were going to pay them $2,000 a month and give them $2,000 a month in equity for a year. And this program launched in January of this year, so we are a full 8 months into it. The problem is that they ain't paying people out. At least that is what has been reported. So, like I said, back in November, 300, 2,000 people, $4,000 a month. That comes to $14,400,000 that they were coming off of this calendar year. And according to the Washington Post, they have paid, late, paid less, or skipped paying altogether, on these issues. So the Washington Post columnist who wrote this, she said that when she started actually reporting on this, when she started doing the research on this article, and she's reaching out to Triller back in June, that seems to be when the payments started coming out. And I want to say this report came out, I believe, Wednesday last week. And folks had reported literally the day before this thing went to press. Oh yeah, we just got our payment here. We just got our payment there. So it's like the CEO of the company is saying that, let me just read this because it's an actual quote here. Triller disputes that there have been any problems with creators' pay. CEO Mal De Silva says that the company has met its financial commitments to the creators in this program and will continue to do so. Well, maybe the day before the article was printed, that was a true statement. But do you think that, everybody who actually anonymously came up and said that, hey, this company, we're doing the work, we're giving our videos, we're creating our content, we're doing what we're supposed to do, it's not paying us? I don't know if you got the opportunity to read this because it was a long read on the Washington Post, but it was actually a really good article.
No, I actually read it prior to Stephanie putting this on here because one of the things that Stephanie always says is that these companies banked or capitalized off of all right, we're going to help out black creators. In the wake of George Floyd and in the wake of all these other things that was happening, there were a lot of companies that made a lot of promises to diversity, to equity, and inclusion. It seems like Triller was one of those companies that created this whole program that was going to take X many creators. We're going to put them up in housing. They're going to give them, they're going to pay them salary, and we're going to give them equity in the company for the duration of this program, which sounds amazing, right? That's what, black creators are looking for. We're looking for equal opportunity. We're not looking for more opportunity. We're definitely not looking for less opportunity. We're looking for equal opportunity. And I think Triller was one of them companies that jumped in and was like, oh, yeah, you know what? What's popping right now, what's trendy is helping out black folks. So let's go ahead and create this whole product. Go ahead.
So what I want to just add on to that is that, yeah, it was a George Floyd effect. This probably drove some of this. But if you remember last year around this time, there was that, that song, Megan Thee Stallion song came out, and all the black TikTok creators, at least, they went on strike. They said, we're not making a dance, for this particular video. So Triller, they really capitalized on that because they jumped off on that. It's like, okay, no, we're, because that's when you really started to hear about how black creators are creating all of this content and they're not getting credit for it. Or they'll create it, but someone else will copy it, and the person who copies it gets the credit for it. I mean, it was and is a huge issue with these platforms. So Triller's like, nah, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to hire 300 of these folks. And, we're going to throw upwards of $14 million their way. And as I said, according to, the reports that, the Taylor Lorenz, I believe her name is. That is the columnist who did the investigation for this reporting.
Uh-huh.
She said that we interviewed 12 folks, and they were all saying that they were having issues. Now I know that they're 300 and they didn't talk to all 300, but she
Right.
got a pretty good sampling.
Well, it shouldn't
And
have
they
happened.
were having issues. Yeah.
It shouldn't have happened to anybody.
Right.
If Triller said we've selected you for this program, you should be getting your money in a timely manner, especially if you are from middle of nowhere country and you move yourself over to LA to be to participate in this program. You got to pay rent, or you got to take care of life. Maybe if Triller was taking care of your rent, you still gotta live, right? And if
Mhm.
you're not getting your money, you can't live out there. So imagine, anybody, just one person. If you said you're going to sign up 300 people and one person says Triller's tripping, they tripping. It ain't like, well, the percentage of people that's getting their money farly outweighs. No, you said 300 people, you was going to take care of them, you was going to look out for them. You're not doing a job just to one, you're not doing your job. And it sounds like Triller, they wanted the publicity. They wanted to capitalize off a movement, like you mentioned, the TikTok black creators going on strike. And they was like, well, you come over to Triller. And as a matter of fact, we're going to help you out. That probably
Mhm.
got them some PR. That probably got them some more content, which is what all these companies are looking for, more and more and more and more content. They did their job. We got the publicity. We got the content. And that's all we really wanted to do.
So,
We really didn't
so,
want to do a program. We just wanted the publicity, and it's starting
so,
to come out.
so if it was just if this was just a story of Triller signed up 300 folks that look like us, told them they was going to do all these things and didn't do it, that by itself would be horrible and bad enough.
All
But
right.
it turns out it's even worse because they're saying just dealing with the company, people feel grimy. Like it's just kind of, it's just not a good feel for what's going on. So, like I said, this is a really long article. We have it linked in our show notes. If anybody has the opportunity, you should go check this out because it's a long read, but it's a good read. But towards the end of it, they start just talking about things like, well, when they signed everybody up, when they announced this program and told everybody what they were doing, the CEO was saying things like, and you can be just like Charlie D'Amelio. And it's
Right.
like they're like, hold up, that's not what we're trying to be. We're not trying to be like her. We're trying to be like us, and we just
Right.
actually do the things that we do and get the recognition for it. So,
That's all we
uh,
want.
so
Mhm.
those are some of the things that were issues. They actually had contracted with actual like development houses. One in Atlanta that they talk about in
Mhm.
the story. One in LA that they talk about in this story. And basically, what Triller is coming to him saying, like these companies are saying, hey, you owe us XYZ amount of dollars. Oh, well, see, what had happened is we're trying to go public. So since we're going public, we have to have so much money on hand.
Uh-oh. Gotta lose Rob.
I
Oh,
don't
there you
know
go.
what the small print in these contracts are, but it's like you are literally hiring, you're contracting these folks out to do stuff. They're supplying you with the things you contracted them out to do, and they're not getting their money on time or at all in some cases. One of the things at the very end of the Washington Post article, it says that black creators have not yet received equity in the company. They haven't received their equity stake. So once again, they're supposed to be getting $2,000 a month in this company. The rumor is that Triller might be actually going public this fall, as early as maybe next month. Could be October, November, but they actually are planning on going public. It's like, wouldn't you think that if you're going public, if I was one of the creators that had been
You
signed the
don't want no
contracts, it's
static.
like it wasn't
Right.
like you just say, hey, this is what I want to do. That alone is a contract. But I actually signed some paperwork that said this is what you're going to give me. I would like to have that before you go public, so that I can actually capitalize on the things that you said we were going to be able to do. You're not just going to have us come and create content on your platform. You're going to give us ownership of the platform. So
Mhm.
there's just a lot that is going on, with this. And like I say, it follows a couple of young men who are, who basically have moved across the country, who
Right.
had to go out and find other jobs because they weren't getting paid by this. They were going into their own personal savings.
And on top of
Um,
that, and on top of that, Triller was making the content creators adhere to the strict and stringy, not stringy,
Stringent.
strict, yeah, stringent. I said
Yeah.
stringy, stringent deliverables. They had to be doing so many posts a day, so many posts a week. I don't know what the exact thing was, but they had a strict
Yeah, it's like
guideline that they had to
eight a
meet.
month or something like that.
Right, right. And you are subjecting me to this guidelines, these strict guidelines, but you're not holding up your end of the deal. You like, yeah, well, you get the money when you get the money. It's like, well, you didn't tell me I could give you the content whenever I felt like giving you the content. So this, like you said,
Right.
all of it, the totality of it sounded like, going back to, like I said originally, they just wanted to capitalize off of the publicity, especially if fast forward to November or whenever that they're trying to go public. They just wanted to capitalize, and then who cares about the little black kids? They'd be all right.
Mhm. So yeah, one of the stories was that one of the creators did a GoFundMe because I believe his cousin passed away, and they did a GoFundMe, to cover funeral expenses. And he actually asked Trillers like, "Hey, I know I'm supposed to release a video on this day, but my cousin just passing away. I don't want to bury the piece of content that I already put out. Can I slide it a few days?" And they're like, "No, if you do that, you're going to ultimately risk
You're
being
breach.
dropped out of the
Mhm.
which is probably what Triller wanted in the first place. They were saying that it was, the
Wanted people to
terms of these
drop out.
contracts, they wanted them to drop out.
Right.
And it's just like, come on, companies, like, what are you doing? And it's like, but you know what? This is what companies do. And it's like,
This is what companies
this is
do.
what
So
companies do.
that brings us again, all again and again and again, back to the question. It's like, should we be chasing these companies around when they have proven time and time again they ain't really checking for us like that? Or do we go to plan B or whatever the case may be and create our own? And then if we create our own, it's like, are we going to get the groundswell? So it's almost like, again, companies are showing us specifically, black folks, but are showing content creators in general that if you are already a million follower influencer, you can get whatever you want. Anything above that, you don't matter. Which is why these influencers are bending over backwards and killing themselves, not proverbially, not actually, but and maybe in actuality as well, killing themselves to create this content when and not really knowing what the payoff is going to be. They assume the ROI is going to be, okay, well, if I have these many followers, do all these things, I'll get these whatever, but that's not set in stone. So you got a lot of these kids that are ending up in the wash because they, you know, are trying to live up to this dream of becoming an influencer. And these companies are like, sure, give me all your content, but you know, we're not going to treat you like an employee. We're not going to treat you like a partner. So it's like, well, what do you do if these companies don't care for you? Can you just leave the companies? Can we afford to step away from Triller, step away from TikTok, step away from Instagram, all these other companies, all these other platforms? And if we step away from them, then what do we do? you know that's like that's the $1 million question, because if it was easy enough, people would have done it. But it's like these companies have such a hold on us that we know they're terrible, or we know they don't have our best interests in mind, but we're still chasing after them. And what is that?
So I think you can almost look at creators today that are trying to be big on YouTube or trying to be big on TikTok or Triller or whatever the case is. And they're doing their thing, they're creating their content and they're putting it out there on these platforms, and ultimately getting paid by the platform. It's almost like back in the day when artists, music artists, they were, the only way you could get your music out there was to go to a label.
Mhm.
And you started to see back in, I'm sure it happened before this, but at least in our culture,
late
when we
late
started to hear
90s,
this,
early
you started
2000s.
to
Yeah.
see like the masterpiece. Like, no, I'm going to do this on my own. I want to, I'm going to sell out of my trunk until I can do this, or I can do that. And now, you're starting to see that, happen in the creator space. I think what can you be a creator on YouTube and not be on YouTube? No, you have to be on YouTube to be on there. Can you be a creator on Triller and not be on Triller? No, you have to be on Triller. But I think there's a difference to when you are using the platform to benefit things that you're doing as compared to the platform using you to benefit what they're doing.
Okay.
So I think that in the case of, these 300, black folks who basically were having some issues getting paid by the company that said they was going to pay them. Well, if you were putting out, content, you have all these followers, and maybe you had your own ads in it, or, you had an email list that you were able to build off of that. You had other mechanisms where you could monetize your content outside of just having a contract with Triller and getting paid by them, then you
Mhm.
would have, you would have more leverage. So
Okay.
yeah, Triller's
Wait.
using me, but I'm using Triller.
Right.
And
Right.
I think that that's kind of how you have to go, because and we've had this, we've had these conversations in our Discord, when we've talked about, like, black Twitters, like, what, can't we build our own Twitter? Can't we do this? And it's like, yeah, black people can build anything. You could absolutely build a Twitter like application, that you market solely to African Americans. There are companies that are doing that. The problem is that when you do that, there's only 40 some odd million African Americans on the planet. So when you create a resource that is just for them, you're limited in your reach, as compared to when you're on Twitter and there's darn near a billion people on Twitter that you can get your content in front of. When you think of YouTube, there are billions of people who watch YouTube videos. When you think of Instagram, there are billions of people who look at Instagram videos. When you think of TikTok, there are billions of people who do it. So I just think that we have to get to a point where we're looking at these platforms not to, I'm going to get paid by Instagram, I'm going to get paid by Facebook, or I guess it's the same thing. I'm going to get paid by Meta. I'm going to get paid by Google. I'm going to get paid by TikTok. I'm going to get paid by Triller. That's cool if they do, but I'm also going to put my, set my content up so that I can actually get paid based off things that I'm doing. And I think that's how you have to look at it. You can't just assume these companies are going to treat you, the right way. And I will
Right.
say this isn't even necessarily a white thing or a black thing. I think these companies are ultimately going to try to make as much money as they can off of you as they possibly can without paying, and paying you as little as they can. That's being said for everybody. And then you have all the stuff that comes with being an African American or a Latino American or whatever, whatever the other is on top of that. Those issues don't go away. They just exasperate, what's already there. So I just think that, whether you're black, white, brown, whatever, if you are doing this as a creator and this is what you want your business to be, you can't just say, I'm going to be on YouTube and AdSense is the only way I'm making my money, or I'm going to be, I want to be on Instagram and Facebook ads is the only way that I'm making, my money. You've got to do something else that's going to ultimately bring that revenue directly to you, to where you don't necessarily need Instagram as much as Instagram needs you. We talked about this before, about, we need to talk to Isaac Hayes III and talk about what he's doing with his platform. But there's just story after story of folks who have left Instagram, who have left, TikTok, and have gone over to. I just lost my train of thought. What is his platform called?
Fan base.
Fan base. They've gone over to the fan base, and immediately start seeing results over there because they're able to move their following over. And that's what's making, companies like Meta say, oh, wait a minute, we need to start looking at some of these things that they're doing over here. We need to start paying our people differently, not because they thought it was a good idea, but because they see the idea that they had not making as much money anymore. And now they have to actually, keep up with the Joneses because there is, potentially another way. So, like I said, I get on my soapbox when I talk about, content and, and creators and getting paid for, for the work that you do, because we are that, we are creators, a little older than probably most of the ones that we're talking about. But, this is what we do as well. But, you just have to make sure that, you can't get away from using TikTok. You can't get away from using Instagram if that's what you do. You can't get away from using YouTube. But if you are going to use them, if you are going to put your content out there, you just need to make sure that you're doing it in such a way that you can actually make money independently of those platforms. And that way, if you need to move to another platform, you're probably still good. You take your audience right with you.